It's only 4:30. A single star trembles in the sky, the rest haven't faded yet, and the yellow of morning hasn't fully arrived. You're already awake. You clutch the blanket wrapped in the corner of your tent, but it's time to get up. It starts the same way every morning. You rub your eyes. You put on your boots, right first, then left, because that's how you learn. Why the right one first? You don't know. You saw your father do it. He saw his father do it. Some things aren't questioned out here in the Wild West. It's cold outside. In the open plains of Texas, or Kansas, or Wyoming, the morning air cuts straight to the bone. But you're used to it now. In the early years, you'd shiver, your teeth would chatter, and for a moment you'd want to leave it all behind and run to a wooden room with walls and warmth. Not anymore. Cold is just cold. A fact, a condition. It doesn't stop you. You stir the fire back to life. As you stack the wood, you feel your hands redden. A small spark, a bit of breath, a handful of dry grass. The flame catches, and that small, warm glow reminds you that you're still alive today. It's a small thing, but at this hour of the morning, it feels big. Coffee. The same coffee every morning. Water into the pot, 2 handfuls of ground coffee, set it over the fire. Wait. Just wait. That's the real secret of the Wild West, everything is waiting. You wait for the herd, for the rain, for the town. Waiting doesn't wear you down anymore. If anything, it brings a kind of peace. The coffee boils. You hear it, a soft bubbling, steam rising. You pour it into your cup, hold it with both hands. The warmth seeps into your palms. You drink. Bitter. Always bitter. But that bitterness is part of the morning now. The sun begins to set something ablaze just below the horizon. The sky shifts from deep blue to indigo, from indigo to a dark orange. The change is slow, almost impossible to notice. But you watch it every morning. Because there's nothing else to do yet. And because it's beautiful. Dust is tied about 30 paces from the tent, alongside the other horses. When he sees you, his ears perk up. Do you really like him? You're not sure. But when you look at him, something in you softens, and that's enough. You get the saddle ready. It looks like a simple task, but it isn't. The saddle has to sit just right, the straps tighten to exactly the right tension. Too loose, and it slips, you fall. Too tight, and the horse tires, can't breathe right. There's a balance between the two, your hands learned it over the years. Now you do it without thinking. You pat Dust lightly on the back. He lets out a low murmur. That's his way of saying good morning. You mount up. The world rises a little, on the ground, everything feels bigger, on horseback, everything feels wider. The horizon stretches farther. The sky opens up. Maybe that's why cowboys love their horses, it's the only place where life feels just a bit more spacious. Now the sun sits right on the horizon. Red, orange, gold. Your shadow stretches long across the flat land, 10, maybe 15 yards. You glance back, the camp is still there, smoke curling from the fire, a few men sipping their coffee. You look ahead, cattle. Hundreds of them. Thousands. And beyond them, the plain, and beyond that, more plain. You begin your day. The herd's been a little scattered since morning. Hundreds of cattle, maybe 1,000, maybe more. Hard to count, and counting isn't your job anyway. That's the boss's concern. Your job is to keep them moving in the right direction. Not east, north. Always north. Cattle are strange animals. Not smart on their own, but when they move as a herd, a kind of shared instinct takes over, like they all feel the same thing at once. One stops, they all stop. One runs, they all run. That's when it gets dangerous. You try not to think about that right now. The horse knows the herd. Even Dust seems to understand which way to go. You ride along the flank, holding the left side while your partner, Hank, rides the right. Hank doesn't talk much. That's one of his better qualities. Hours pass. Flat, endless plain. A hill now and then, a creek cutting through. The cattle move, you move, Dust moves. The wind comes in from the east, whispering through the grass. No other sound. Every so often, one of the cattle drifts off course. It veers right, something on its mind, maybe a scent, maybe a feeling. Dust sees it before you do. He shifts slightly, you guide him, and the animal slips back into the herd. The movement is so small, so quick no one else notices. But you notice every time. That's your job. Your mind empties out. At this hour, you don't think about anything, not your debts, not the town you left behind, not the argument from last month. There's only the horizon ahead. And the cattle. And the wind. Maybe that's why some people choose this life. So they don't have to think. When the sun hits high noon, the signal comes to stop. A shout from the boss, or the trail boss, maybe just a hand raised. Everyone knows what it means. You swing down from the saddle. Your legs feel numb for a few seconds, hours in the saddle will do that to a man. Slowly, the feeling comes back. The food is simple, hard bread, dried meat, maybe some beans. The trail cook is stirring something in a big pot. Hard to tell exactly what it is, but it's hot. That's enough. Don't underestimate the trail cook, he might be the most valuable man on this drive. He spends the boss's money, buys the supplies, hauls them, cooks them. With a bad cook, a trail turns into hell. With a good one, even the worst night becomes bearable. Lucky for you, yours is a good one. You settle into the shade of a few trees. Hank comes over and sits beside you. He doesn't say anything. Neither do you. You both eat. The wind is still moving. Somewhere in the distance, a crow calls. Someone's playing a fiddle. There's almost always someone who brings an instrument on a drive, this time it's a young Mexican named Felipe. When his fingers pull across the strings, the sound carries across the open plain in a way that feels almost too beautiful for a place like this. No one says a word, but everyone listens. Felipe plays with his eyes closed. Where does his mind go? Back home. To his mother. You don't know, but there's a longing in that sound, an undeniable longing. 20 minutes later, you're back in the saddle. Clouds start gathering in the afternoon. From the west, fast. These aren't ordinary clouds, you know the color, you know the shape. Dark, greenish-gray. Flat on the bottom, swelling on top. When you were a kid, your father taught you what to do when you saw a sky like that out in the fields. Run. But cattle don't run, they panic. And 1,000 panicked cattle can turn into a stampede, that chaotic, dangerous, deadly force. Stopping that? That's your job. When the thunder cracks the first time, the herd tenses. You can feel it, 1,000 pounds of muscle shifting all at once. The ground almost seems to tremble. Then silence. A dangerous kind of silence. Everyone moves into position. Voices rise, shouts of, "Whoa! Whoa!" whistles, anything to keep the animals calm. Even Dust is tense, his ears are up, his steps careful. You lean down and murmur to him, "What you say doesn't matter, it's the sound that does." Calm. Low. Steady. Then the rain hits. A few drops at first, then suddenly everything is soaked. Your hat helps a little, but the rain feels like it's coming from every direction. Your shirt clings to your back. Water seeps into your boots, never a good feeling, but there's no time to think about that now. The herd holds. They don't run. That's a win. A small, quiet win, no certificate, no praise. But you know it. Hank knows it. Felipe knows it. The boss watches from a distance, gives a small nod, he knows it too. The storm passes. The sun comes back out, softer now, more golden. The plain is wet, and the smell of earth rises up. Maybe the finest smell in the Wild West, rain-soaked dirt. Grass. Wet stone. And something else, something you can't quite name, but recognize every time. Your eyes open at 2 in the morning. A hand rests on your shoulder, gives you a light shake. Your turn. You get to your feet. Your mind is still half asleep. But your hands find your boots, your belt goes on, your hat settles into place. These are movements you don't think about anymore. It's cold outside, colder than during the day. The fire is almost out, just embers left. You toss on a piece of wood, and the flames come back to life. The job is simple: walk, watch, listen. Circle the herd slowly. If something looks wrong, you speak up. If a predator slips in, a wolf, a cougar, sometimes even a bear, you make noise, fire your gun into the air, get the herd moving. But most of the time, nothing happens. There's just the night. And you. The stars look different at this hour, like they've dropped a little lower, like they've grown larger. The Milky Way stretches right above you, from one end of the sky to the other. When you were a kid, your grandmother called it the Milk Road. Now you understand why, it really does look like spilled milk across the dark. The cattle are mostly asleep. Some standing, some lying down. You move among them, slow steps, no sound. One of them opens its eye, sees you, then closes it again. It knows you. That's a small thing, but in the middle of the night, small things feel big. A sound. Distant, unclear. You stop. Listen. Wind. Just the wind. You keep walking. 2 hours pass like that. Then the next man touches your shoulder. Your turn is over. You wrap yourself in your blanket. Your eyes close, this time, much faster. The sun is setting. Orange, red, purple. Painters have tried to capture these colors, every one of them fell short. You can't describe it without seeing it. Camp is set. The animals are settled. The watch schedule is made, you'll be up at 2 in the morning for your shift. You don't want to think about that right now. The fire is big. Everyone's gathered around it. The cooks made something with beans and pork fat, sprinkled with red pepper, better than you expected. As you wipe your plate clean, you thank him quietly, to yourself. There's some talking, not much. Someone tells a story they heard last month, about a man from another drive, something he saw in a valley, something he felt. A ghost? a wolf? Or just a vision brought on by exhaustion? No one believes it, but no one interrupts either. The story drifts along, softens your mind a little. Hank speaks for the first time today. "Went well," he says. "Yeah," you answer. That's enough. Between two cowboys, that counts as a long conversation. The stars come out. You can't see stars like this in a city. Out here, the sky overflows, like someone spilled milk across it. The Milky Way is clear. You could trace it with your finger. You lie back. The ground isn't soft, but exhaustion turns anything into a pillow. Your body feels heavy, arms, legs, back. Every muscle did its share today, and now they're letting you know. It's not a bad weight. It's the weight of work done. Your eyes begin to close. The fire has its own voice, the crackle of wood, the whisper of flame. Someone breathing nearby. Far off, the cry of a coyote. Tomorrow will be the same, 4:30, cold, coffee, dust, the plane, the cattle, the horizon. But right now, you're here. The warmth of the fire on your face. The stars above. The wind, soft and low. And slowly, you drift off. You heard about the town weeks ago. Dodge City. Or Abilene. Or some other name, it doesn't matter. What matters is that it's there. A destination. The end of the trail. How long has this drive been? 2 months. 3. At some point, the days blurred together, morning, plane, night, watch, morning, plane, night, watch. You stopped keeping track. No point. Only one thing mattered, north. Always north. As you ride in, dust kicks up. The herd moves through the streets, people stepping aside. Kids watch from windows. A woman heads upstairs. A man takes off his hat and gives a nod. Town sounds feel strange to your ears. Hammers striking, voices calling out, horseshoes on stone. You haven't heard these in months. Your ears got used to the plain, to wind, grass, cattle. Now the noise of town feels almost too much. You hand over the cattle. They count them, money changes hands. The boss's face loosens just a bit, that's his version of, good job. He doesn't say it. He doesn't have to. You get your pay. A few dollar bills. Months of work in your hand. Is it a lot? No. Is it enough? Maybe. But you don't ask that question, you already know the answer, and knowing doesn't change anything. What do you do with it? First, a bath. A real one, hot water, soap. You've been waiting for this moment for months. You stand in front of the mirror, sunburned face, weeks-old beard, dark circles under your eyes. But your eyes themselves, alive. Tired, but alive. Then the barber. He doesn't talk much, you step into the saloon. The piano's playing, small, a little shrill, slightly out of tune. But cheerful. The place is dim, wooden, smelling of smoke and something else, beer, sawdust, and the warm weight of a crowd of people. It's not like the stories say. Movies always show the cowboy reaching for his gun the moment he steps through the door. In reality, most men just want to sit. They want a drink. They want to hear a voice. After months on the plain, loneliness makes any human sound a small miracle. You settle at a corner table. A glass of whiskey, not expensive, but real. The first sip burns. The second, you're used to it. Look around. Two men playing cards in that corner, quietly, with focus. At another table, someone writes a letter, tongue peeking out slightly, gripping the pen tight. Who to? Mother? Wife? You don't know. The piano keeps playing. The melody is simple, but after a while, you stop noticing, there's just the sound, in the background, carrying you along. You glance out the window. Night has fallen. Lanterns cast their red, flickering light on the street. A few horses are tied to posts, gently moving their heads. In the distance, far off, a dog barks. Soon, you'll be back on the trail. Because you know nothing else. Because the plane calls you. Because dust waits. Because the next herd, the next town, the next drive, they're all there, waiting. But right now, you're here. Your glass on the table. The piano playing. The lantern flickering. And deep inside, something small stirs, peace. Fatigue? Both? You can't name it. But it's there. Real. And that's enough. And that's how a cowboy's day goes. Cold at 4 in the morning, dust at noon, fire and stars at night. No great adventure, no mighty victory. Just work. Just patience. Just the plane, and you. Maybe most of life is like that anyway, not the big moments, but the small repetitions. Coffee. Saddle. Wind. And one day, you reach town. And you rest enough. And then you hit the trail again. I hope you get a little rest tonight. Let the wind blow soft. The sun will rise again tomorrow. And you will wake up.